cost also should get reduced. Everything. Don't get restrict to only one discipline. Like interdisciplinary approach is very highly appreciated by reviewers and as well as the journals nowadays. So that should be there. But the problem with the interdisciplinary is you cannot work in all the disciplines. So sometimes you have to struggle with the collaboration, and sometimes you have to remove your boundaries so that you can explore more things. Right. So instead of sticking only on robotics, you can explore about some communication field also. You can explore on some biomedical section also. Right. Then research planning is very important part before writing anything, because a good research plan is really essential for your success. Because if the plan is good, you will have a great story to tell. How you have planned, how you are going to implement that, what you are going to implement, everything you know. So that story is the only best thing which will you can write in your journal article and will attract your reviewers. Then your design, whatever designing you are doing or you are fabricating something, it should be robust. It should prevent issues during writing. Whenever you are writing anything like your paper, you are writing a methodology, you are writing the fabrication technique, or you are writing the method of synthesis, right? So those things should be slightly innovative, or you have to tell the cost or something. These kinds of parameters you have to mention, which will increase the chances, right? Then collaboration, I always try ask everyone to collaborate with a good team, good quality researchers, right? The people who are expert on these group, whether it's national or international. So those they will guide you even in writing the paper. They will guide you in showing the data, right? How the data you have to explore, what type of, like even a single dialectic data will give you lots of information, right? So how you are going to explore that information. Sometimes if you are not known about the dialectic, maybe you can take the help of some person who is having very high publication on dialectics, right? Similarly, if someone is having very high publication on antenna, you can approach. The same goes for AIML and some algorithm, right? Cognitive radios also you can contact. So this will gives you new ideas also. You will able to work in different groups also, and the number of publication will also get improved, and you will learn from that a lot. So always practice makes everyone's better, right? So what I feel is, if you will be having more collaboration, you will have more work to do, right? And that will give you more practice to write the things, you to recorrect your things. The Every person is having a different mindset, right? So they will tell you, okay, no, not like this, explain like this, right? And which will be understandable by uh, other audience also. So like that you can take the suggestions and you can make your article effectively, right? Then academic skills, so like this is modern life. So when I used to write the journal, so I started from morning to night, and whenever I'm sleeping also, that manuscript is going on in my mind. So I found this picture very nicely portrayed for, especially for research scholars. So they, whenever they are writing, they are in the sleep also, in the subconscious mind also they are writing, right? Yeah. So other than that, whenever we are writing any article, it should be clear and concise. You should always stick to the point you want to explain, whether it's application point of view, whether it's a data point of view, right? And whenever we are writing anything, your flow should be logical. It should be connected. You should not whenever someone reads your article, it should not feel disconnected. Otherwise you that person will find it very boring, and then it will start questioning, okay, why this was not explained. You ended up on a platform which is not convenience, or which is not satisfied, right? And then you started a new platform. So those platform, those lines should be connected. Then the grammars and the styles of writing should be very simple, so that people will able to understand. You can use a good words in that, right? Synonyms, attractive synonym, that is fine, but the language of reading, so that whenever someone is reading, it should be, they should understand that thing, right? Then last is manuscript structure, like standard format is start with your title, abstract keywords, then your manuscript start with your introduction, then methods of fabrication or methodology, then your results and discussion, then you will end up on conclusion, then you have to acknowledge the your collaborators or person who have helped you, then references that you have used in your article, then figures and tables. These are the standard format. So whenever you are writing any manuscript structure, you have to be as a researcher, and you have to wear many hats, right? So you have to think as an editor, you have to think, if you are a reader, how you are going to take that paper. Then you have to think as a reviewer also, if I was a reviewer, how would I am going to ask the question on these article, whether the article is perfect or not. And as an author only, you have to review, right? So there's a flow diagram you can see, like you have to submit a paper, and then if it met your basic requirements, it will be assigned to some reviewer, or it will, if it will not met the basic requirement of the journal, it will directly get rejected. Then after assigning the reviewer, you will get the comments, recommendations from the reviewers, and those reviewers recommendation you have to analyze, and based on that, a decision will be made by the reviewer as well as editor, and either it will get again rejected or it will get accepted. So you will see the chances of rejections are more, right? So after this, if the reviewers agrees, okay, after some corrections you can accept the paper, so those corrections will be made very politely. You have to answer each and every corrections, and then after that correction you have to submit again. Then again it will go through the revised paper, and then the editor will again check whether the revision has been made properly or not. Then again reviewer will check all the comments are been properly modified or not, properly been answered or not, and then they will again make the decision whether it is rejected or accepted. Then it will get accepted if everything goes in your flow, right? So one more diagram is there, like if you want to accept your paper, there are so many hurdles, like editor, associate editor, so many reviewers are there, right? So now the basic sections are like stages, which is introduction. And introduction is again are been formed in a pyramid stage. We start from the brief overview of your work to an end on the section you are working, right? Then second, you have to write your detailed approach design, how you are designing, what type of approach you have used. If you have used any software or any programming, any algorithm, you have to mention those things. That algorithm you are, if you are doing, you have to mention the flow chart. You have to show all the algorithm, your methods, right? Then results will it should be very clearly, you whenever you are making any results, whenever you are making any data, you have to mention them very clearly. If it will be very complex, it will be very hard to understand the reviewers, and then they will start questioning you. Then discussion, in discussion section, whatever you have to explain them very nicely. Each and everything you have to explain. Even a curve is there and some spike at some value, you have to explain that spike also. Okay, why that spike has been come? What is the reason behind it? Whether it's error or some problem with your method, right? Or generally these kinds of method will give peaks or this problem. So you can cite those things, and you can explain the results very effectively. Then at the end, you have to acknowledge your contributors who have contributed, and you are not giving their name in the paper, in your article, but they have contributed you indirectly, whether it's in analysis, making some graph, or doing your testing, right? Then at the end, you have to cite your reference, and you have to clearly whatever results you have mentioned, whatever discussion you are doing, you have to clearly mention the tables and figures. right? In so that it should be visually expressible, right? Then this is very standard manuscript designing. It should be a single colon, double spacing. You have to do Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, and font size should be 12. So this is in general, like for Springer and elsewhere, ECS and they are following. IEEE is having their own format. So you can download that format and you can paste your journal manuscript in that format, and accordingly you can proceed. So before submission, like you have to take care of this thing. One is should going to be peer review by the reviewer. So to ensure the clarity, you can get feedbacks from your colleagues. You can get feedbacks from your juniors, from your seniors, from your family member if someone is technically advanced. So they will give you some suggestion what things are not clear or not. Then next is your title and abstract. So title and abstract is the very important thing along with your cover letter. So whenever you are submitting anything, first impression will be your title and abstract. So it should be eye catcher, right? So you have to take the attention of editor and reviewer by using title and abstract. So your title should be specific, concise, and engaging, right? And your abstract should be the same. And whenever you are writing any abstract, your title should justify your abstract. Whenever you are writing any abstract, if someone reads your abstract, they should know, okay, this title justifying your abstract. Yes. So the title, abstract, and cover letter are very specific. So yeah, whenever like I discuss about these things, so yeah, I found few my juniors also. Even I was like this only initially. I'm not interested in what paper is about. Just I just want you to put my name on the author's list, right? Because we don't care about what title, abstract, cover letter, other things are. How to write paper, how to get published. We just want okay, whoever is publishing, if I can get the name in the journal, it's more convenient for us, right? So this like image I found very much convenient, like it's like telling the reality sometimes. So like importance of your title, like why your title is so much important, what you how you are going to make your title eye catchy, right? So your title should always reflect the essence of your journal. Whatever research you have done, it should reflect, cause otherwise whenever someone reads your title research article, they will get confused. Okay, your title was this and you are explaining something else. So it should reflect that thing. Second, it should matches with your content, especially your abstract and your introduction last paragraph. It should matches with that. And then it should be brief. It should not be more lengthy. It should give you the information to the reader, right? And whenever we are using any abbreviation, we should avoid them. We should not use any abbreviation in the title or some formula in the title. It should be a clear statement, right? So we can see some example like mention you have to always mention the strength in the title. So example here we can see like this person has done experimental and numerical study. So the strength of this was experimental and numerical study, like the both things they are doing, right? Then second we can see here, so like author has made a flexible, stretchable, and lightweight. So these are lightweight, stretchable, flexible are the eye catchy words. And then high performance EMI shielding, so this will gives you the application point of view. So these are the words which are the strength of the journals, of the article. Then here we can see a significant effect. So the significant effect on turbulent is the eye-catchy word. Then the person is doing a comprehensive review. So the comprehensive word is other strength of this review paper, right? Then one more example, a dual band, dual polarized sub gigahertz. Initially I mentioned like whenever you are making something which is beyond something like sub gigahertz, 6G when you are going for if you are going for beyond 5G. So like these kinds of words you have to mention in your title. Then writing the abstract. So writing the abstract, whenever we are writing the abstract, the main thing should be it should summarize your result. whatever work you are doing, so starting from what contribution, what you have to answer the question, what work you are doing, why you are doing that work, what is the usefulness of that work, and what contribution you have made. So these are the four things you have to mention in your abstract. And then you have to follow the guidelines of the journal, what how they are, what type of abstract they encourage, how many words should be there. It should be 100 words, 150 words, or 200 words, or 250 words. So generally the abstract for art should be nearly from 1 to 1 250 words, depends on your the journals you are going to apply. So this is like example we can see, like introduction of your work. Then you have to tell some case study, like in this paper what you are going to do, then how you are going to approach that study, what work you are going to do, how you are going to approach that work. Then you have to tell that result, what you got, what results you got. So these are the like pillars how you are going to make your abstract nicely and concise. Then we can see like this abstract is too long, and they are not even made it the abstract as spacing is not proper, the font size is also low, right? And so many keywords they have used, so should not be like that. So to make it more concise, it should be like a small paragraph, a spacing should be proper, justification should be there, the keyword should be around 5 to 6, not more than that. So these are the things you have to take care of. Example we can see here, like title is there, author is there, author information you have to mention. Then you have to mention the abstract. So I have divided those abstract in terms of background you have to mention. You have to mention what type of applications you are going to work. Then what is your objective? So you have to tell in this present work or in this work you are going to do this. Then what method you have used to fulfill your objective. Then you have to tell the result. Okay, this is result we got after using these methods. Then you have to go for conclusion. Like these are the conclusion. This is what we have observed, right? Or you can say conclusion or observation, right? Then you have to mention your keyword, which should be, I said, 4 to 5 word, maximum 6 word, right? So these are the journals generally expectation how you have to mention. You have to make the article, especially the title and abstract and keywords, right? Now, crafting a cover letter, like whenever you are crafting a cover letter, is very important because uh, it should be read by the editor in chief. So there are two formats. One is either you have to explain you have to explain the innovation in the cover letter, right? Or you can make it more concise by writing one or just simple 2 lines. Whenever you are writing the cover letter, you have the letter should be mentioned by the either by the name of the chief in editor, editor in chief. It if you know the name, you have to mention the name. If you have any confusion in the name of the editor in chief, right? So for that purpose, you can mention the editor of chief only, right? So I'll show the example in the next slide. And then previous submission, like you have to include the details, like we have previously also submit this research article, but because of some reason, whether it's got rejected or the editor has asked to resubmit it, or we have submitted a few articles which got accepted, so that detail also you can mention. So example we can see here, like in this the editor has chief has been directly mentioned, the name is not mentioned. Okay, so like you have to start with your subjects, what is the subject of your this cover letter. Then you have to mention the innovation of your work, and in a some small paragraph what extra work you have done which has not been observed previously by other literatures, which have not been mentioned, whether you got results which are very much dominating, right? So you can mention that also. Then at the end you can you have to write, okay, we believe this manuscript is suitable for the publication in this. Then you have to mention the new, like it creates a new paradigm to research study, so that editor will get to know, okay, what type of audience you are going to target, right? It's audience of fabrication, the audience of nanocomposite, audience which are related to electrical, mechanical, and microwave, the audience which are related to space application, military application. So you are targeting so many audience. So that will increase the chances of publication, right? Then you have to claim that this you have not been published anywhere, and you have not submitted this anywhere else. So this is a golden rule. Like you have to submit your paper only at one journal. And then I said, like, if you have submitted this journal in somewhere else also and got rejected, then you have to give the information, as I have mentioned, note information regarding the previous submission, and then what changes you have made. Because whenever you are submitting to any journal for rejection, they give you some comment. So always try to rectify that comment and then resubmit. So you can tell, okay, these changes also we have made, and at the end of the letter, you can mention those changes that you have made in your manuscript after rejection. So this is a short letter, like you can see, like directly you know the name of the editor. So editor in chief, you can write the name of the editor. Then you can tell the subject, and then you can directly tell the affiliation, author, title, and other things. And instead of telling so many things, you can directly say, okay, this work focuses on design and development of what, and this manuscript has not been published and is currently not under consideration for publication also. So this line is very important, like this manuscript has not been published and is currently not under consideration for publication elsewhere. Why? Because this will tell the journal, okay, you are only targeting us. You are not a person who is who is submitting this manuscript to too many journals and publisher and waiting for anyone can accept, right? So this is very important, and generally always convey this thing. Okay, you always submit one journal at a time, at a only a single publisher and publication, right? So this will improve the chances of acceptance also. Then introduction section. So for introduction section, whenever you are writing your introduction, you have to start with the application. Then you have to tell the work till date has been done by researchers. It means you have to tell the literature way, and you have to tell, okay, this et al has done this work, this et al has done this work, but the problem with those publications were this. So you have to identify the public problems, you have to identify the statement research gap, and then based on that research gap, you have to tell you have to decide your objective. Then after, once you decide your objective, you have to mention that, okay, in this work we are going to do this, and these are the novelty we are going to implement in our uh, journal. So some journal don't prefer, you write, okay, we are doing some novel word. So don't use the novel word. Instead of that, you use, okay, this has not been really elucidated, or this has not been observed in now, or this will reduce the cost of our system, which has not been observed in the literature till date. So like that words you have to mention. So which will indirectly tells, okay, these are the novel things, these are the objectives you are going to address in your research article. So this is how your introduction consists of the 5 stages. So 5 stages are research, field, or application. You have to tell the application first, then you have to tell the literature review, then you have to find the research gap, what research gap is there, what novelties you are going to address. Then you have to tell what aim and objective you are carrying, and then you have to write the significance of your work. So this is how the inverted pyramid should be there. So start with a broad introduction, and it will narrow down to your research work, right? So these are the 5 stages, general contents of work. It's the same thing that I explained. So yeah, so here we can see in the last paragraph generally how people are defining their objectives and how they're writing. So example, you can see the objective of this study. You can start with this. Then you obviously, whenever we are writing any research article, we are doing some research. We must have done some 500 papers we have read, or we have read 1,000 paper, 2,000 paper. But we have not read infinite papers which are available in online, right? So we cannot write this has not been done, right? We can write to the author's best knowledge, it has not been applied to date. Or we can write since we are writing this, right, no investigation has been made, Or we can write this kind of work has not been really been elucidated till now. This type of work has not been performed by the literature till now. Okay, or as per the author's best knowledge. These kinds of word we can use so that the editor or the reviewer will not object, will not inquire you. Okay, you have done this, you have written. No one has done this work, but we can give you two, three works which are similar to your work, right? But so that's why you have to always mention these things. Now comes to result and discussion. Now result and discussion is a very important aspect after your introduction. So like you have to mention self-explanatory figure, comparison tables, comparison figures, compilation of data in form of tables, figures, optimization of data, schematic diagrams, then graphical abstract. Some research article also asks for graphical abstract. So we'll see at the end about the research graphical abstract as well. So example this, like this figure you can see, like if I'll see this figure, it will be some lines, some we can say some lines, some rectangular lines, that's it, right? So we are not able to identify what exactly this is, right? But if I want to make a self-explanatory figure, I can include this. So from this, at least I can know, okay, this is what they are showing, some agglomeration of some lines, right? Here we are seeing some bundles, right? Some small bundles, some large bundles. So this is how you can explain in your figure. So whenever you are writing, you are explaining this figure, you can write, okay, we can see the agglomeration of the wires, right? In figure A and figure B, and these wires are getting in form of bundles, like further from figure C and D, right? So these are the things we can write. And whenever the reviewer will read these things and will check your figure, he will analyze, he will able to check whether whatever you are claiming is correct or not, right? So you can you have to explain this. Then example you can see here, like the wires are diameters are been mentioned, average diameter, the diameter of wire, then trapping center, then different wires have been compared in figure D, as you can see. So having different diameters. Then here we can see the inner and outer diameter of the wires have been mentioned. So whenever you are writing something, you can mention the figure number. This is showing this graph, right? So from that, the reviewer who is reading your, who is reviewing your will get suddenly go to that figure and will check. Okay, yes, the diameters are clearly visible. That's it. So he will not question you, right? So this is how you have to make the figures. Then comparison table. Example, you can see like different composites at different thicknesses, different reflection laws, different bandwidth are been mentioned. So in which you can see, like if you want to see this work. So in this work, you can see the percentage of this is very low in compared to other things. So here I can claim, okay, I am having the lowest percent in compared to other published articles, right? And which is covering entire X band, which is covering entire X band broadband of this. So this is how you have to make the comparison table, so that reviewer, whenever it will see, okay, your work is good, your work has done some advancement, right? So we can accept your work like that. So you have to give them the reason to accept your work. So similarly, you can see here also like different filler percent, then thickness. If you'll see only 0.3 mm thickness is there, you will get 60 dB. Here also you'll see 0.1 mm having 60 dB, right? But in terms of percentage, if you'll see, this is a bulk material, which is 100%. Here you will see only 10%. So you can claim again, like you will having the lowest percent, lowest thickness, and lowest EMI shielding values, right? So that will accept your journey. Chances of acceptance will be more. Then comparison figures you can make with respect to thickness, shielding, absorption, reflection loss, return loss, with respect to gain. Like if you're working on robotics, sensors, you can make this in terms of efficiency, right? How efficient your system is, how many cycles your system is required to predict the model efficiently. Like if you're working on some AI and machine learning, right? So based on cycles and all these things, you can plot the graphs and you can give the comparison table, comparison figures. Then like whenever you are doing any simulation and you are verifying it experimentally, so you can give that also, like simulation results is this, experimental is then there, whether they are matching or not. So you can like if you are going for some IP rating, if you are working on like your mobile application or something, so you can say okay, our prediction is for IP rating IP68, IP54, right? So you can do the testing for IP54. So original testing and after IP4 testing, whether your system is working or not, you can mention that. So you can show it graphically. It's giving still same result. So you can claim, okay, our system is following the IPX rating or not, right? So similarly, you have to show, and whenever you are doing any experiment, try to mention the like here you can see original and after bending figure has been mentioned, so which will give the reviewer to check, okay, yes, this is how he's doing the bending, and after bending is measuring the shielding. That's it. So these are the small things, but you have to take in care of those things. So then you have to compile your own data. Example, you are making different films, or you are using some different algorithms, and then you are analyzing their efficiency. So you have to mention, okay, different algorithm we have used, these many cycles has been used for achieve the efficiency of 99%, 90%, like that. So for algorithms you can use this, and for antenna also you can make okay, different antennas we have make, then different dimensions were there, for different dimension, different gains, different return loss values has been come. So and what are the thickness of those antennas, so you can mention like FR4 is used to like for the fabrication roger surface or polyimide. So those based on the material also you can identify those things. So this is how you have to compile your data in form of table. So like review, it will be like easier for reviewer to check your data, right? Whether it's true or not, whether it's informative or not, right? And how much data you are getting observed. Then the second table, or you can make a bar graph also for such thing. So like example here we can see different filler weight percent at different thickness. We can compile the data, and we can say okay, for shielding this seems to be a higher shielding at 2 mm thickness. But let's suppose if someone wants to go for 0.3 mm, it can choose a lower thickness for lower shielding material, like. So it will be easier for the audience also to check okay what they are going to work on. Let's suppose someone is going to work on 0.3 mm, so it will go for this material, and look for advancement on these type of material, so that it can go for more, it can advance shielding further, right? So it can work on this material. So this is how you have to give the compilation of your data. Then I asked you optimization. So here we can see like different thicknesses has been done. Look for whether it's antenna or whether it's some other thing, whether it's algorithm. You can see for efficiency we can see number of cycles. For antennas we can see number of thickness or the size of antenna. So based on the size and other things, we can optimize. We can see okay, this antenna is going to work on this frequency at this of thickness, or is this of dimension. So accordingly we can optimize, and we can put some 3D graphs, some fancy graph to attract the reviewers and the yeah, or the audience, right? So that they will see the graph and they will try to read your text, okay, where these graphs are getting explained. Okay, let's see how they are going to explain such a fancy graph, right? So these types of graphs are also will important. Then schematic diagram, like you have to explain your methodology, your flow diagram. Example, we can see like some heat treatment fibers are there which are getting electroless nickel coated. So some nickel has been deposited on the surface. Then after drying, it is going to some CVD process, and after CVD process, some fibers are grown on the surface of the mat. So we can see this thing easily by this figure. It's we can anyone can explain, right? Who is even new to the field also, they can see and explain. Then similarly you have to tell whether your material is lightweight. So for that you can use some water images. You can use some petals of the rose. Like here we can see the petal is not bended, it means it's lightweight. And samples can be bended, so like by bending images you can show okay, it is bendable, right? So these are the images which tells you okay, this material is lightweight and all. This application you can say okay, it's it can resist water also, right? And phenomena is very important. Whenever you are explaining anything, you have to explain the phenomena by schematic diagram. For example, here we can see a small details for the waves, and every interaction of every microwave with your material has been mentioned, with your sample has been mentioned. So this is how you have to make your each and everything. The more basic, more detailed information you will get, the more chances of getting published on unpaid and high impact journals will be there, because they always focused on the basic science. Then let's talk about the graphical abstract. So graphical abstract is all about what abstract you are making. It has been shown in your graphical abstract. So example, this is a graph. So this is for absorber. We can check. Okay, this is for absorber. What type of absorber? Some waves are there, right, which is getting incident and getting absorbed in the surface, right? Now here we can see reflection loss, and we can see a frequency range which is gigahertz. It means the incident wave will be microwave, right? It means it is nothing but your microwave absorber. So here we can see, okay, it's a microwave absorber, right, which works in X band and KU band and giving this much reflection loss. So this is how your abstract is. So it means if you'll read the abstract, it should mention about the micro absorber. It should mention about the X band, KU band. It should mention about the reflection loss values, right? And about these fibers, which has been shown here. So one more abstract we can see, like here, there's some incident EM wave already has been mentioned. So its electromagnetic wave are being incident and getting transmitted, and in between it is getting absorbed, or you can say it is interacting with each other, right? So from this figure, if you'll see, it is getting dissipated because of electron hopping, because of some nanocapacitor structure, because of some interference. Interference will be dielectric interference or magnetic interference, right? So it should the paper should mention about the interference, should mention about the dissipation of EM wave, should mention about the SET, means total shielding effectiveness. It means should be mentioned about the shielding. It should focus on lightweight. It should focus on flexible and bendable, rollable things, right? And very high shielding, we can see around 60 dB. So let's check this paper. So here we can see, like, see the flexible, stretchable, thin film based, functionalized carbon nanofibers. So we can see the carbon nanofibers. Graphene nanostructure, we can see the graphene nanostructure. EMI shielding, we can see the EMI shielding. Flexibility and stretchable, we can see the flexibility and rolling. So we can see, okay, it might be flexible. Or thin film, we can see from this figure, right? So this is how your abstract should justify your title. Now let's see whether your title is justifying your abstract or not. So first, higher EMI shielding, then graphene nanoplatelet, nanofibers, highly flexible and stretchable, lightweight and thin has been mentioned. Then different GNP and different weight person, which is mentioned here 246. So we can see 246. Then the value of shielding, which is 60 dB, right, achieved for the maximum one. This, which is nothing but a 4,6 weight percent. So everything which is mentioned in graphical abstract in your title is been mentioned in your abstract. So this is how you have to tell. Now let's check the previous one. This is your application. Then this work, what you are going to do. Then what you have achieved, right? Then your observation. So this is what initially we checked. Okay, this is how your abstract should be made. So everything abstract, your title, graphic abstract, everything should be there, and this should be linked with each other. Now let's talk about conclusion. So whenever we are concluding our article, we always mention this study has identified what it has been identified, what are the findings of the journals are there, what different types of investigations you have observed, what different types of differences you have observed in your study, what basically you are claiming, whether it is justified your application or not, whether you have successfully done that methodology is implemented for your application or not. So these are the, like, you have to tell, like, in the conclusion. Example, the experiment you have done. So you can say, okay, the simulation has been done on some software, example Canvas or some CST, HFSS, or your Python coding, right, has been done, right, for simulation purpose. Then you have done the experimental, so you can say, okay, the experiment confirms the simulation. So like that, you have to statement you have to mention in your conclusion. So these are more examples how your the current findings add substantially to our understanding. The current finding adds to our growing body of literature. So the finding of this study suggests, so what these study, these results, these evidence suggest further. So these you have to mention. So after concluding everything, you have to mention two lines about the future scope. Why it is important, that will attract the readers. So the reader will read those lines and will get the hints. Okay, how we can improve the system. So example, you have, if you'll mention, the research has thrown up many questions in need of further investigation. Example, like I shown you this. Okay, so if I want this future scope of this, I can say, okay, instead of flexible, okay, fine, stretchable, good, thin film is good. So most of the things have been done. So now I can say, okay, I can modify the transparency. So I can write in the conclusion section, okay, can be the system can be more transparent instead of using graphene if we'll use some other material which is transparent to optically transparent. That's it. Sorry. Yeah. So for just by including just one or two lines, you are going to help the readers as well, right? So those readers will try to identify the problem or the future scope of this work. So they are going to read those papers. They are going to cite you. So your citations will get improved. And whenever publisher accept, editor accepts something, so they always think about the citation. They always say, okay, which audience is going to be like this, and which audience is going to take the advantage of this. So this is very important when you are writing any conclusion. At the end, try to write at least one or two statement of this, including the application, what application you are going to target on that future scope, right? So now here we have finished the writing portion. Now like how we are going to choose the right journal. So other than already I have discussed, we can use some suggester, we can check the big shots. So other than that, we can also see like what your journal's goal will align with your manuscript. Example, you are your paper is in robotics, but you want to publish that in let's suppose IEEE some transition or biomedical. So you have to align your manuscript such that your robotics is going to sense something, will be work as a sensor, or will going to help the uh, will going to help in some medical facilities, right? Whether it will your robot will help as a sensor, or will be the helping hand of a doctor, which can analyze the patient in the initial stage, like that you have to tell. So it will automatically, whether it's a robot, right, robotic paper, but you have aligned that in the field of biomedical. So like that you can align, you have to always align, because if that will not align, your rejection will come. And I'll tell you like different types of rejections, and the best rejection is this only, that we your journal will not align with the scope of the journal, with our journal. Search article is not aligned with the scope of our journal, right? This is the very basic rejection that editor can give. So that is very important. Then you have to identify whether it's Scopus Index or SCI or not. Then what is the impact factor of that journal? Then formatting of that journal, the reference formatting. Then how much frequency it is taking for publication. So some journals take 3 months. Some journals take some 7 weeks. Some journals may take 6 months, right? So you have to take that also, and then you have to check the publication history, like what on what basis they are publishing, right? What type of journals they are publishing, what type of application they are accepting. So you have to modify your articles by using those statements. Like generally, like we should have plan one, plan B, right? But now I'm going to further reality. Okay, so the boss and guide is always right. we must have two plans. Always we try to make, okay, we'll publish in this nature or this and that. But when we show this to our senior, right? So they always, we always try to check, know your target audience, look at the journal requirement, beyond impact factor, look at the literature. But we end up with the, where does your boss want or your guide or supervisor wants to publish your paper, right? So it's always good, like you always try to take, okay, I'll publish this in transaction, right? I'll triple transaction in Q1 journal or something. But your guide, your boss, they always know, okay, where your research group is going to publish, and where the publication will be easy, and within the time limit of time frame of your PhD, or some you can say your appraisal will be there, right? So it will get published. So based on that, they will suggest you this thing. So generally, what I found is, like, wherever your boss wants to publish, you have to publish there, right? Then golden rule I always say, like, you have to always submit to one journal at a one time. Once it is getting rejected, you can resubmit it to some other journal. That is fine. But at one time, you should always submit one journal, right? Now, the whenever we are doing like submission process, after that, you will have initial review. Some formal guidelines will be there. You have to follow that accordingly. Nowadays, like, AI is there, which will directly ask you to resubmit the journal if you have not missed some facts or if you have missed some references, right? So they will ask, okay, these references are not mentioned. So try to make it precise at the starting. Then your editor decision will come. It will be assigned to some associate editor, or it will get rejected. Then associate editor will also assign to some external peer reviews, and based on that, only top articles will get selected. So common rejection reasons are, like, your novelty is not there, or statistics, whatever analysis you have done are not good. Whatever questions are there, which you have only claimed in your novelty, or you can say the research gap, are not been answered properly. So based on that, common rejections will come. Then peer review process, it leads to extra. Once your impression is positive, it will lead to some external review. Then after review, your review outcomes will come either in terms of rejection of the paper, or acceptance, or major or minor revision. So the common rejection clause, you can see, like, it clause, like, lack of impact, unclear messages, you are not explaining the things properly. So these are the hurdles you have to always proceed whenever you are submitting a research article. So you have to follow these hurdles, and then only your paper will get accepted. So this is the review process, which previously also been explained. So the same thing, like, the reject chances of rejections are many more, and the chances of acceptance is very less. So you always have to make it very precisely. You have to always make it very clear with your topics and with your journal, so that chances of acceptance will get improved. You will always follow the blue lines and the green lines, right? Not the red ones. So how you are going to impress your reviewers, right? Already, like, we have discussed the summary of the work in abstract, right? Language, the flow of material, appropriate tables. The introduction should not be lengthy. It should consist of objectives and novelty. Figures, references always should match. They should not mismatch with each other. Then decision of manuscript will be taken by the editor and reviewer together. So acceptance without changes, which are very rare, um, I rarely found is. Then rejections are there, and don't just resubmit the manuscript to another journal. Like, this is what I prefer. Like, in the starting also I mentioned, like, whenever your journal is getting rejected, try to improve those journal by some comments which has been given by during the rejection. Just improve those comments, then resubmit the manuscript with after modification, and mention those things in your cover letter, so that whenever you are resubmitting to any journal, they will get to know these things. You're not hiding anything. And second, they will like check, okay, already you have answered so many comments, so it will be easier for them to uh, submit, consider this for the publication, and mail it to the sender, send your article to the reviewer. Then revision with major changes and minor changes will come. So whenever it comes, you have to answer each and every point. Always you have to correct those points. If you like and if you feel like this has already been included in your journal, and the reviewer maybe mistakenly or maybe not readed your paper properly, and because of that your he has given some comment. So although I have written, you can challenge it, but instead of that, I generally rewrite those things, okay, and tell, okay, I have already included that in the manuscript, but as per the reviewer suggested, I am rewriting, rephrasing those statements, and now I have modified the manuscript, and the modification has been included in the manuscript as follows, and I can make those mention the just simple paragraph, so that it will be easier for reviewer also to understand, okay, this the line were already been mentioned, but he was not able to point it out. So now, like in the response file, the author has clearly mentioned these things, so he will appreciate that thing. Now the common rejections are, I said, the paper does not fit within the journal's scope, so this is very common. So don't get demotivated by this. Try to like find a journal which is based on your application and based on your methodology. Then second, the methodology is wrong, the practical things are not clearly mentioned, the spelling or the writing is very poor, the images are not clearly labeled. As I said, you should clearly label the images. Figures try to be self-explanatory, right? So these things are very important. Now once I always ready for my rejections. Whenever I submit, I always try, okay, if this paper will get rejected, I am going to resubmit it to some other journals. So, but with corrections. So always I accept this and I resubmit it to some other journal, and it immediately, like I always try to modify those journal as per the other publisher or the journal's norms, and resubmit it. So don't take it, okay, if this is getting rejected, what it will happen now, what I need to do. So directly resubmit immediately to another journal, don't wait. Okay. So I always try to prefer that. So I always like even give suggestion this to everyone, that resubmit it immediately the day you get rejected. Just sit for whole night, whether you sleep or not, try to resubmit it. Then importance of review, like some people always take, okay, why they are reviewing, why they cannot directly accept this. So it's always like your quality of the journal will improve. Like whenever you are doing the corrections, you will only see that your quality of the journals is getting improved. The points which you are not able to identify, the reviewers which are having precise knowledge on those topics, they are identifying your mistakes, and will give you final verdict on that, so that you can modify your manuscript, your methodology. You can clearly mention those things, so it will give you the readers also. The other readers will also, when they read your paper, they will mention, they will cite your journals. They are able to understand what exactly you are doing. So based on survey also, like 90% researchers feel that peer review improves the quality of their published paper. So now typical review, like whenever we are submitting journal, like we are getting rejection or we are getting improvement. So on what basis we are getting rejected? So this is how, like on what basis reviewer are giving their comments. So these are the like questions which has been asked by the reviewers, right? Whenever they are reviewing your journal, your article. So these are the comment, like it comprises of like your, whether the data is comprehensive or not, concisely stated or not, and whether the manuscript contains the significant information or not, whether the summary and abstract is concise or not, all the literature and citations are adequate or not, language is acceptable or not. So these are the things, and based on that, the length of the article, the number of tables, number of figures has been used. So based on these things, they will give the decision whether it's rejected, major revision, minor revision, accepted. So if we include all those points, the reviewer, we are forcing the reviewers to say yes, 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 yes. And if he will say yes on all the things, it means he have to give either minor correction, major correction, or accept. It will never reject you, right? So always try to include all those things so that your chances of getting acceptance will be more. Then manuscript the comment politely. We have to answer it completely. So example, we can see here. Like, start with the collect cover letter in which you have to mention, okay, what cover letter is this, by mentioning the associate editor's name, and you have to tell subject the revised original research article for publication. You have to mention the article ID, the title, and if the reviewer and editor has suggested you to modify the title, so you can tell the title and then further you have to thank the reviewer first. Okay, because of that only you have your quality of the journal is improved. Then at the end you have to mention, okay, whatever changes you have done, you have highlighted in red color or something, and then you have to tell, okay, we await for your further recommendation, and as to the suitability of this journal of whatever the journal name is there at your earliest convenience. Then you can mix sincerely your all the co-author's name. So this is how you are going to write the cover letter in the response to reviewer file. Then your real response file starts. So in this, you start with the reviewer's report, and then you will mention the authors first. You will thank the editorial board, reviewers, then whatever the comments they have addressed will you are going to incorporate that. You have to mention all this, and then you have to again mention, okay, whatever comments have been given are been addressed in the manuscript and have been highlighted in some color, whether it's red, orange, or brown, green. You can mention the color. Generally red color I prefer, right? Then first you have to address the journal's office comment, then you have to address the editor's comment, right? And this is editor's comment are the comments where the real response starts. So example, you can see like the editor has given the suggestion to change the article, the title of the article. So in the response file, you can mention, as per the editor's suggestion, we have modified the title of the manuscript. We have done the manuscript in the modification in the main manuscript as, and then you have to mention what changes you have done. So this is how you are going to write this. Then similarly, if some reviewer asks you for some response, example, you can see how you ensure the uniformity of CNF like that they have given. So you have to tell, okay, as per the reviewer's suggestion, to ensure the uniformity of both the surface and this are included in the manuscript and modified the manuscript as. So this is how you have to mention, okay, this paragraph in the black color are been modified in the manuscript, and where you have done that manuscript changes is page number 9 and line number 21, and this should be highlighted. So whenever the reviewer will see, will come down, it will see, okay, this page number, this line number, you have done the modification. So it will directly go to that page number and line number. It will see, okay, yes, you have a highlighted red color, and this line number, page number, you have mentioned these figures and these paragraph. So this is how you have to respond. And example, one more you can see, right? So if some point is there, we have where you have they have asked for some phenomena, explain the phenomena. So whenever you are explaining anything, you have to always refer to some journal. Okay, this type of phenomena is already been checked by some other journal, so you have to cite those papers. So whenever you are writing the response file, you have to mention, okay, we have done this, this is the modified one, right? This is the modified one, and at this page number, line number, we have done the modification, and these are the references we have used. So this is how you have to mention. Then similarly, like if someone asks you, okay, if you have done some statement and you have to justify that statement. So if you are justifying your own work, and for that, just like they have written, this sentence is difficult to understand. So if it is difficult to understand, you can make it easier to understand. You can divide the sentence in two words, or you can make a one more sentence added up, so that it will be easier for the reviewer to understand. So to make it understandable, you can write the statement. You can tell, okay, as per the reviewer's query, the articles are reviewed and the modification is done in the introduction portion of the manuscript as there. So like that, you have to respond the review file. Then at the end, you have to conclude with a line. Finally, the authors would like to sincerely thank the editor, associate editor, and the reviewers for their constructive comment that have helped us improve the quality of the manuscript. We hope the revised manuscript can be considered for publication in the journal that you have submitted. So like that, you can end with a nice note. Okay. So after this, you have to respond file, and after this, you can resubmit it. So once you will submit all those things, I hope after these things, your paper will get accepted.